Start spreading the news. I'm leaving today. I'll make a brand new stab at it. New York, New York. Game 6! Released this past weekend in 2023 and is directed by Matt Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillette, who also directed the last entry into the Scream franchise with Scream/Scream 5. And this film is starring Melissa Barrera, Jenna Ortega, Jasmine Savoy Brown, Jack Champion, Henry Cerny, Mason Gooding, Liana Liberato, Dermot Mulroney, Hayden Panettiere, and Courtney Cox. Sam and Tara have done the best thing for this franchise and have moved out of Woodsboro and have moved to New York City for college. However, this whole Ghostface murdering franchise conspiracy serial killer thing is still following them, as there are several killers in this movie donning the Ghostface mask looking to kill the Carpenter sisters. But as always, they are greeted by former legacy characters, the famous Gale Weathers back at her reporting job again, and Kirby from Scream 4, who we thought had died, but she's an FBI agent now? Basically, Neve Campbell said no to the deal that was presented to her to come back for Scream 6, so they were like, hey, let's bring back Kirby, because even though she died, it wasn't really on camera, so we could say that she lived. And that's kind of what happens in this movie. A couple of characters get stabbed, and we think that they die, but it's also kind of open-ended at the end, where it's like they could come back and be alive again, basically depending on what the studio's gonna pay them and what role they have for them in Scream 7. But I won't spoil who that is here for you, because I definitely recommend you checking out this one. This is one of the freshest takes that I've seen in the Scream franchise. I have covered all of the Scream entries over the last couple of weeks. Many of them I have seen for the very first time leading up to this movie, so I am inundated now. I'm used to all of the rules and how this thing works, so to see this movie take place in an entirely different setting, an entirely different city, this franchise sorely needed this. It feels fresh, it feels brand new just with the set dressing alone. These girls are living in an apartment complex several stories above the ground, so that if the killer enters their apartment, they really have only one way, and that's with the ladder going from their apartment to a friend's apartment across the way, across the alleyway, and hopefully the killer doesn't come into the bedroom in time to move the ladder on them. I mean, by now you should know that yes, the killer is going to move the ladder eventually on one of them. That whole situation was definitely a little confusing, and this isn't going to be a spoiler, but this is one of the main gripes that I have about this movie, was that we have all of these legacy characters, or characters that came from the previous Scream film, or hell, even Gale Weathers, and we had Kirby from Scream 4. We have all these characters in this small, tiny little apartment, and there's only one Ghostface killer that comes in, or is hiding in the closet, and then comes out to stab people. And we have like 6 people there for him to stab. Why didn't all of them just like gang up on the guy, take him down, break his hand, get the knife out of his hand, and unmask him, and then it all would have been fine? But no, instead, they all split up, and a couple of them freak out and run outside of the apartment, and then the apartment door is closed, and then it's locked, and they're like, oh, I left my keys on the inside! I guess I can't help out now! Ugh. Dumbass people in a slasher movie. It drives me crazy. And that's kind of a trope that's all throughout this movie. There are situations where there are multiple potential victims in a room or in just one setting, and then there's one Ghostface killer there to stab everyone, but they all scatter like cockroaches, and you turn the light on. It's like, no, you all gotta gang up, and you all gotta attack the Ghostface killer at once. Maybe one of you get cut, maybe one of you get stabbed, but stabbing someone in these movies doesn't kill anyone, as we find out. Kirby is back here. And I don't know what's going on with her hair, or if that's actually her hair. I doubt it's actually her hair. That is... if it is her hair, I am sorry, but just like Courtney Cox in Scream 3, I'm saying, oh, someone did something wrong. But she's back as an FBI agent. It's just... like, no, that's not happening. But apparently she is. She's the go-to person that does all the research on everything, so Yay, she's back. Hopefully she stays with the franchise. Who knows though? Again, they leave it open-ended. Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega are back as the Carpenter sisters, and Jenna Ortega was someone that I loved from the original Scream movie, and she continues the same performance here. She is captivating. She is gorgeous on screen, and she's great at showing that terror in her eyes. She has one of the best slasher faces, I think, that I've ever seen in a slasher movie. Like, you want that beautiful, terrified face as a victim in your slasher films. But Melissa Barrera, I think, does a much better job than she did in the original. For those of you that watch my Scream review, Scream 2022, or Scream 5, however you want to frame it, I thought she was awful. I thought she was terrible. I thought she couldn't act her way out of a cardboard box. Here she has drastically improved, and it made me super happy. Her character is still dealing with the fact that her father is Billy Loomis, and she starts seeing visions of Billy in reflections of, like, former Ghostface costumes, and you get the sense, like, oh, is his spirit taking her over? Is she going to be a serial killer down the line? Why is being related to a serial killer or an offspring of a serial killer mean that eventually you're going to be? It doesn't, but that's just the trope that Hollywood does in these horror franchises and all these movies. Oh, the sins of the father trickle down to the son or daughter, and they're gonna follow in their footsteps all the time, apparently. Did Sam ever meet Billy Loomis? I don't think she ever did. So how is she able to know what he looks like and see his reflection in a mirror and know how he sounds? Right? So as you can tell, this movie does fall into the standard formulas that we do see with all of these Scream movies. There are, though, pleasant surprises in here where it does break away from certain tropes and certain formulas that we've seen in previous Scream films. And those moments made me super happy. These are moments that we have desperately needed in this franchise. Hell, in the opening 10 minutes, we get a little fake out of who the killer is, and it just put a smile on my face. Like, yes! Okay, why haven't we done this? This is the 6th entry and we are finally doing something different here. Thank you. And there is an amazing sequence where they're trying to get to another side of New York City to save one of the characters, and they have to take the subway. And when they get on the subway, it's Halloween, so you see a whole bunch of people in Halloween costumes, and there are people there wearing ghost face masks. And you can't tell who's just wearing it for Halloween and who's the actual killer. And the lights are constantly going out. You hear great sound design. The music score picks up here. This whole sequence is excellent. This is what I want from horror films. My blood pressure was rising, the hairs on my skin were rising. It was just a great sequence. Like, I wanted the entire movie to just be this. This was fantastic. I will say that the reveal of who the actual killer is, it felt a little repetitive to a certain previous Scream film, but I guess that's like the sequel to a requel that you can do. That's the rule that they were saying. I don't know. It just felt repetitive, and I was like, oh, that's who the killer is? Okay. That's a bit of a letdown. I will say, though, there is no surprise cameo from Sydney. She is nowhere to be found in here. Maybe we'll see her in Scream 7. Who knows? But the fact that she's not here and that this franchise is now outside of Woodsboro is the best thing that could have happened to this franchise, in my opinion. Keep Sydney away for a couple of movies. Keep us out of Woodsboro for a couple of movies before we go back, if we ever go back. Because this franchise needs a breath of fresh air, and Scream 6 is definitely that. I'm going to give Scream 6 4 out of 5 Blu-rays.
I like it a lot.
So guys, if you've seen Scream 6, what did you think about it? What is your ranking of all of the Scream movies now that you've seen all of them? Whatever you thought, comment below, let me know what you thought about it. And as always, if you like what you see here, if you like my take on movies, then hit the subscribe button, and make sure you hit that bell so you'll know the next time I'm releasing my next movie review. So guys, I will see you next time on the channel, but in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.